And I hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.
Hi guys, just to let you know, we've got a brand new website, drcharlieward.com, where all our videos will be loaded over the next few weeks. And you'll be able to view all of those there's no charge for watching any of those. We've moved them all onto our own platform because all the doctor ones, which are very, very important, have been taken down. So we've now got control over those, but every single video we post will be free to watch. That's very important for you to know. The other thing is we're getting an awful lot of people asking us about gold and silver. And I've always been an advocate of gold and silver. And myself, I'm not in a position to give financial advice. I'm not qualified to do so. I'm just going to tell you what I've personally done. I've personally bought gold and silver, and I've used a company that I trust, which is shown below here. They've always looked after me well. And if you order from them more than £250 worth, you get a free 1 ounce silver coin, which is very, very nice. It's a nice little gift. But this is not an endorsement. This is just what I have done personally, and it's up to you. It's your choice. As I said, I'm not qualified to give the advice on financial advice, but it's just what I have done personally. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy watching all of my videos. Thank you. Yeah, today's the day. And it's such an interesting journey, you know, where we've been and what we're coming into. And I don't know what's going to happen today. And that's the beautiful part about it.
Yeah.
Is Biden going to inaugurate himself? Is he going to go to the White House, which now looks more like a prison than a White House?
Yeah, it does.
The locks are on the outside, not on the inside. There's so much going on. And I'm just gutted that they're not 6 hours ahead of us rather than 6 hours behind us.
We've got to wait.
Say that, Charlie. We're talking about last night, weren't we, Adam? Like,
yeah.
Behind us, like,
yeah.
I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's happening.
Well, you imagine being Australian.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to wait until tomorrow.
Yeah, true.
It's mad. I mean, I never thought I'd personally live through something like this.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
We're so blessed to be alive at this time and see what's happening.
I look at it a very different way now since connecting with you, Charlie, and many others, and just all the others, Simon and everyone else. I look at it a very different way, and I have since March time. But before that, I was getting ready for war in my garage, training very hard, getting ready to take on these people if they come near me and my family with vaccines and everything else, you know. So I knew that's where it was heading.
Yeah.
Might sound a bit crazy, but
I've still got a very controversial theory about the vaccine. That I think that Prince Philip actually probably died of natural causes back in March of 2020. That's what I thought. I heard from the inside that he had. But the minute I said it, everyone came to the rescue and put out pictures of him saying, oh, he's absolutely fine. And then I understand that the Queen probably is no longer with us from the middle of last year for whatever reasons. And of course, that suddenly comes out as, she's at Balmoral. And 2 minutes later, I make a phone call to the stables at Balmoral and they've never seen her. So, and you know darn well that she doesn't go because she likes Scotland. She goes because she likes the horses to ride around the hills in Scotland. So the first thing she'd do is go to see her horses, not to go and see the staff. So I think they were both out of it. And that plays into the theory that when you, in the 5-dimensional game of chess, you take out the Queen first.
Yeah.
And then of course, recently, in the last 2 weeks, they've published that the Queen and Prince Philip have been vaccinated.
Yes, they have, haven't they? Yeah.
So wouldn't it turn things on their head if they both died of the vaccine?
I just don't think we'd ever see it.
But it's a Charlie theory that would stop people taking the vaccine because it's no good for you. I'm wondering if Trump's team just thought that was a nice little twist in the tail. I don't know. It's a Charlie theory. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to.
Yeah, sure.
I like to have my little theories because the rest of it's based on fact. And I like to have some conspiracy theories because everyone calls you a conspiracy theorist. So you might as well try and find some just to get a bit of spice. It's like when in a relationship, if you keep being accused of being unfaithful when you've been faithful all your life, you start thinking about being unfaithful. You keep getting accused, you go, well, if you're going to keep accusing me, I might as well be unfaithful.
Yeah. It puts it in your mind, doesn't it?
It does. So when they keep poking me and say, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, no, all my findings are based on truth. And if you're going to keep calling me, I'm going to go and see if I can find some.
Yeah.
So that's one of mine.
Yeah, totally get you there, mate. I mean, we didn't used to get it too much, but over the years, I mean, we've been doing this for years, what we do, and we've had a lot of people thinking we're nuts. You know, not to this degree, but you know, regarding the financial side, when you tell people about the banks and how they really work, that they don't actually lend you anything, it's like they lend you fresh air. Yeah. And you explain that to people, it's very hard for them to take that on, and they think you're crazy straight away.
People don't want to as well. By accepting that, they're denying everything that they've believed before, which is a bit unnerving, isn't it, for people? So they don't want to take that leap, and that's why, you know, when we've said on other videos, you want to pin people down and just give them everything all at once, and you know, but you have to take it step by step and just bit by bit let them come to it on their own, really.
I remember when I was a child back in the 60s, I was born in 1960, and my father had a shoe shop in Stowmarket in Suffolk, wards of Stowmarket. And he used to bank with National Westminster Bank in the 60s. And they used to put the money in at the end of the day in the night safe box in the wall. And my father was good friends with the manager. And in those days, in the 60s, he took me downstairs to where the underground safe was in the bank. Oh, so I had this image in my mind that all the money was always in the bank.
Yes.
And it probably was in those days, but then the naughty boys come along and changed the rules.
Yeah.
It's mad. It really is mad when you look into it, that they can just, I mean, we're gonna hopefully enlighten and educate and make people aware with some stuff that we've been looking into. Well, if one of those things happened that we're going to talk about, it would be madness. But the amount that just stack and sit on top of each other, it's crazy.
Well, I know from since we started our journey, I've kept a very close eye, and so has Lee Hemmington, on the amount of people who have bought gold and silver since we started this journey. And I've always been an advocate of gold and silver.
Yes.
To me, it makes sense. And if you study the history of gold and the history of silver, you go, yeah, that makes sense. And I've said it many times, if it looks like shit and smells like shit, it's probably shit.
Yeah.
When it comes to gold and silver, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking something. The most beautiful thing with gold and silver, apart from the fact that it goes up in value all of the time, consistently for the last 10 years and more than 10%, I could walk into North Korea, I could walk into Russia, China, Iran, Syria, and I could go to a pawnbroker or a gold dealer and turn that into local currency like that.
Yes.
It talks, doesn't it?
The
shiny stuff talks wherever you go. It doesn't matter where you go.
And it's the same in Yorkshire, Lancashire, or London. It has exactly the same value.
There's the strap line for gold from Lancashire to Libya.
Exactly. Lancashire to Libya. Exactly. It has exactly the same value.
Yeah.
And the thing is nowadays with gold, very often you'll pay a premium when you buy it. But I've noticed when I sell it, when I'm talking to people who want to buy it, they're more than willing to pay the spot price at this moment in time because there's a shortage of it. So they said, look, we'll give you whatever's published, whatever the published rate is. And that to me tells me everything about what I've got, because if you buy anything in life, and
Yep.
you sell it, you expect to have to pay a premium for selling it, whether it's
Sure.
whatever it costs to sell it or whatever.
Mm.
But my man Tito down in Gibraltar, he's gone, Charlie, if you've got any gold, I'll give you spot price today for it.
Wow.
Because I need it. I need it. And I've sent a number of people down to him to buy gold. He's gone, Charlie, don't send me any more. Got no more gold left. I want to buy some.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen the same, really, haven't we? You know, that people are. It's amazing when people's eyes do open. And me and James always say that we live for those moments when people just go, I get it.
I get it.
I get that moment. We don't go giving advice or anything like that. We just educate and make people aware. And once they're aware and empowered for themselves, then
there's another aspect that we don't talk about, and that's about positive mental attitude. And I have a box in a security warehouse here in Spain. And if I'm having a down day, I make a simple phone call and say, I want to come in and see my box. And I simply go in there by appointment and go and have a look at what I've got. And it's there, it's in real reality. And that very often can give you a big moral, physical lift in yourself, a feeling of greatness inside you. That alone can lift you through difficult times, just to go and see it. It's like my father on the farm. He'd just walk out on the land and go, that's my land. That's my land. You know? Get off my land. But that's, when you have something physical that you can see, with money in the bank, it's just a number. You become detached from the number. But when you've actually got the physical, you can look at the gold and you can look at all the different markings on it, etc. And the silver as well, the different markings on there. And you can start. You don't have to be rich to start. You start with a silver coin at £25. It's not a lot of money for an ounce.
That's what we say to people all the time, Charlie. You don't need a lot of money because so many people just write it off straight away. They think I haven't got loads of money. I can't. I can't. Why am I even looking at it? They just write it off completely.
If you have that theory in life, you'd never ever buy a seed and plant it in the garden.
Yeah,
exactly.
You'd probably never do anything, would you? Really?
No, you wouldn't.
I've been speaking to some people recently that were just wanting to know more about how to actually do this and how do you buy and the smart ways to buy and things like that. And overwhelmingly, the control aspect of being able to control your wealth, your savings, whatever you want to call it, has really risen to the surface. Because I've spoken with a few people that have gone into the bank and said, I've got £100,000 or £50,000 or whatever, and said, I want it as cash. And they've refused and said, you can't because of anti-money laundering, which is madness. Because when they gave them the money in the first place, they were happy to take it. They know where it's come from, but they won't give it them back because of money laundering. Which, the fact of you saying, look, you can go and get your gold and you can see it and touch it and all this kind of stuff, the control aspect, it's yours. You get it when you want to, not when the bank say, or even if you can.
And the other thing that I'm going to point out with it, which I use a company called Loomis. Because they're just down the road from me.
They're the biggest storers of gold in the world.
Correct. And if I said to them, look, I'm going to be traveling to Dubai and I would like to this gold here, let's say I need 2 ounces of gold, about €3,000, something in that range, just under. I need that in Dubai. Could you arrange for that? When I land, I could go into Loomis in Dubai and pick up the gold in Dubai. I don't even need to travel with it. And then in Dubai, I can take it down to the souk, the gold souk, and I've got 100 people that will give me cash for that instantly. And I can do with whatever. That's in Dubai. But again, you could do it in New York. You could do it in China. You can do it in Russia. You can do it in Africa. You can do it anywhere. And these storage facilities have places all over the world. And that's just, for me, you've nailed it with the control thing because, I've got banks. I've got a bank at the moment with my personal account that froze my account in December last year. And they asked for a copy of my passport and proof of address, which I sent to them. And we are now the 20th of January and it's still frozen. And every time I asked them, they said, oh, we're investigating. I said, but it'd be nice if you could investigate and allow me to use my account, because through Christmas and New Year, my account was frozen right up until now. And I've had to go to the ombudsman, and they're like, well, we're investigating, but they won't tell you anything. They've asked for a passport, which they've got. They've asked for proof of address, they've got. It's absolutely crazy, and they won't tell me anything other than they're investigating.
You shouldn't have to go through that stress and that palaver, should you? You shouldn't. It's not fair.
It's absolutely crazy, but this is the world we're living in.
Yeah.
That we're moving away from, and we're trying to guide people away from the corrupt banking cabals that just want to get hold of you by the bollocks and squeeze.
Yeah.
They just make the rules up as they go along as well. They just say, no, not today. It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
You're not having it.
Yeah.
Which is, you can't, with any certainty, you can't live your life like that.
The other thing is of course, when you've got gold, do not put it anywhere near the bank. And I think I mentioned it before. One of the sheikhs who's got 200 tons of gold with a Swiss bank, and they've taken it off their custody sheet, onto their balance sheet to balance their books, and sold the gold. Now he wants it back. They've sold it, and they can't afford to get it back. That shows how this is a bank. This is a big name bank.
Yep.
And we learned that they've leveraged it 400 times.
Oh, of course they have. Of course they have. That's what they do. That's what they know. That's what they've always done.
Yeah.
I mean, with gold, personally, this is for myself. When I first started buying it, I just love the safety factor of it and the secure. I just feel secure having it. A lot safer and secure. You know, that's the security I get from having and holding that gold compared to having it in the bank. And when people say to us at our seminars, Charlie, people have said, "Oh, I'm just scared. It's risky." I say, guys, when you understand this, when you fully understand this, you'll understand that it's riskier keeping it in the bank, in something that drops in value. I mean, as you know, currency drops off a cliff.
Exactly right.
It just does that. Where precious metals, it's complete opposite. And
it's been stable for so long, and it's going to get better and better and better.
Yeah.
And you guys are very straight talking. And there's an old saying: if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
So when you get offered these crazy return rates on investments
all the time,
and on crypto, if you go into this, it's going to go just like Bitcoin. You go, do you know what? If I buy 10 coins and next year I just happen to have had 11 because I had bought 10, that's good enough for me. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
The world is driven by this disgusting greed.
Yeah.
It's I want more, you know, and it destroys our lives.
Yeah, it does.
For sure.
It has, hasn't it? It really has. It's affected the world in ways that we just,
You did the numbers. You did the numbers last time you were on the show as to how much the cost of living goes up, how much your money in the bank goes down, which that had a huge impact on me to realize that the value of being clever. It's not about going to university and getting a degree. It's about using common sense.
Yes.
Streetwise. I've always said in my life, I've got 2 jobs as a father to teach my children: to turn £1 into £2, and to try and help them with the first rung of the ladder. And then they need to climb themselves. If you give them too much, then they never learn to fight for themselves. And you see some of these kids that have been destroyed by parents giving them everything they wanted, and you destroy lives by doing that. Teach them how to turn £1 into £2, and then help them onto the first rung of the ladder. And if you can't do it financially, do it morally.
Yeah, true. Well, do you know,
I heard a very wealthy chap once say he kicked his child out the door at 16, said, "Get on with it." Yeah. And we all thought, "Oh, it's a bit brutal at first, like," but I can't think of who it was now. But his child did really well. I think if we gave him a few quid, so right, go and turn that into, double it, go and double it, go, I've taught you the ways, bugger off, kicked him out.
Yeah.
Well, Charlie, talking about inflation and the cost of living and that impact, we've been busy doing some research, and we'd love to show you kind of our latest findings.
Please do.
I think inflation is the key thing at the moment, and we'll show that to you. Am I right to share my screen with you?
Yep.
there's a tidal wave coming our way, and this is basically to help families all over the world to prepare for it and protect themselves from it, as we've been doing.
Sure.
You know, I mean, we believe, as you do. I mean, we believe Jazara's coming in. Jazara. We believe hopefully, well, it's already kicked off, hasn't it? I think, but we believe that will be in place. But whether it does or it doesn't, you're still better off having your wealth, your savings in precious metals, in something that's actually going to be worth something. It's always going to be worth something. It's value. So we just want to protect people from this. And this is what we've been doing for years, Adam, isn't it? This is what we do. It's just try and prepare people for this. And my family and I have been doing this for years now. So we're back up the beach and up the hill somewhere now. We're not on the beach still.
Sure.
So we're going to get people off that beach, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
But anyway, I'll let Adam crack on. He explains it much far better than me. So go for it, Adam.
Can you see my screen with this big kind of wave?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, Charlie, me and James were saying when we were looking through this stuff and kind of putting it all together, at any point, we'd love to have your thoughts on any of this. So if there's any point, just please interject, and because you always have some nuggets of wisdom to add, and we welcome all of that.
We don't know everything, Adam, do we? You know.
No. I think that's the beauty of it. We're always learning. So I think first of all, what we wanted to do is just take a look before 2020.
Yeah.
What happened during 2020, the maddest 12 months that a lot of people have lived through, and then 2021 and beyond. And what does that mean? And more importantly, what can you do about it?
Yeah.
So before 2020, as you've seen some of these slides before, we were talking about interest rates were at an all-time low, historic low in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So whenever there's a historic or biggest or smallest or anything like that, it's time to take note. It's time to, it's a big mover. And interest rates were very low. This is what central banks and governments and countries use to try and get everything moving again.
Yep.
It means that if you're saving paper money in a bank, on a very simplistic view, your paper money is not working hard for you. It's making bugger all, basically. Coupled with that,
as Charlie always says, Adam. Sorry, as Charlie always says, it's not just asleep. It's in a coma. You mentioned that before. Right. It's not just fast asleep. It's in a coma. It's got, it's not doing anything for you. It's working against you, if anything. It's working backwards.
Correct.
So anyway,
and that's exactly right. The inflation part. So inflation around the world before 2020 was already on an average was already at a decent level. And look, as you said before, Charlie, we do things very simply. We boil it down to something very simple because that's how our brains work. We're very simple creatures. And if inflation is higher than interest, you are losing money.
Correct.
Let me put it as simply as that. Inflation higher than interest, your paper money is losing value. And you kind of can't get out of that. You can't get away from it. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
So this is one of the slides that we looked at before, and it really illustrates the power of gold versus paper currencies over time.
Yeah. And
you can see, as James said, they've either gone to zero and disappeared, or unanimously dropped off a cliff and lost 95, 98% of their value.
Yeah.
Whereas you can see there, the gold, a nice straight line at 100%, has stayed consistent with its value. So let me boil it down even simply. Which would you rather have? Which would you rather hold on to? The one's going down or the one that's consistent?
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Again, looking before 2020, the performance of gold against different currencies, it's mainly green. It's mainly had a positive performance against paper currencies. So yes, there's some red years. Nothing goes up in a straight line. Anyone that tells you this, buy this, this, and this, and it'll always go up, run a mile. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But there's different ways to save, and some are smarter than others. And we think, looking at these numbers, you can see that gold has a positive performance as an average, like you said, around 10, 11% a year against the British pound and other currencies. So, decent.
Just one more thing to add, Adam. Sorry, there's one more thing to add there. And even in 2013, like in Great Britain, you can see that it went red to 29.4%.
Yep.
But even then, you know, people who don't really understand this would start panicking. But for you and I and Charlie, I'd be buying then. I'd be like, hey,
yeah, there's a sale on.
Yeah.
There's a sale on. Let's go.
Yeah. But it
Because
does go
we know,
up again.
we know the big picture, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, yeah.
Once you know the big picture, any small dips, you think, well, there's a sale on, let's load up. And look, just one of those other years would take out the dip of 2013.
Sure.
So if you can have, 15 years worth of data and there's 1 year that it dips and one of those other years takes that out, then you're onto a winner.
Yeah, and
So
you haven't got 2020 there, and of course it's gone up again in 2020.
Well, we're coming on to 2020, the year that everything happened.
Yeah.
So the picture that we're painting and we're showing here, and please do your own research. You know, people watching this, you'll see the same stuff as we found, but go and do your research and you'll see it all. Before 2020, you were better buying gold and saving in gold than you were paper.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. Now let's look at 2020. So during 2020, there were these historic, biggest, smallest events that if even one of them happened, it would be worth taking note of and worth doing something about. But I'm going to read out some of the things that happened during 2020. And it doesn't really matter if you understand them fully, because I don't understand the minute granular details, but I understand what the statement means. And you'll see what I mean anyway. So first of all, government borrowing in the UK. Everyone can see from that picture, that is a big increase in government borrowing. So let me just go through some of the things that came out. So in the US in 2020, they have the largest budget deficit in history. Again, budget deficit might not mean anything to you, but it's the largest in history. Just bear that in mind. Twice the level since the Great Depression. Okay. Australia is the largest budget deficit since World War II. The UK has the highest debt on record. In 2020, 22% of all US dollars were printed in 2020 from everyone in history. 22%. So nearly a quarter of all US dollars were printed in 2020. The Chancellor in the UK said it's going to get worse before it gets better. Now, we know politicians sugarcoat things massively. So when they say it's going to be bad, it's going to be really bad. The finance minister in Australia said that the numbers are overwhelming. The numbers for debt is overwhelming. If he's overwhelmed, we should be taking note of that for sure. The World Bank projected that this recession will be the deepest since World War II. These are not small claims or things that they're just, I don't know, it's not like a story saying, here's on the news, Mary's been to the shop, she's bought some milk and she fell over, It's a story out there, but these are huge things. And as the economy and we're all interconnected now, this has a knock-on effect. For the first time in history, the Fed, the Federal Reserve in America, started buying US corporate bonds, including junk bonds. Now, what does US corporate bonds and junk bonds mean? It doesn't matter that much. The point is, for the first time in history, they are intervening because we are in a time that has never been seen before. The balance sheet of the Fed, so the Federal Reserve Bank in the US, the ECB, the European Central Bank, and the Bank of Japan grew by $8 trillion. They are buying. They are buying assets. They're buying things up because they want to stimulate the economy. There's only so many levers that they can pull, and they're doing everything they can. Just in some comparison, Charlie, because I know on the news we hear, million, billion, trillion, and they're thrown around like, eight's not a big number, but you stick trillion on the end and it all of a sudden becomes massive. So in just some kind of comparison, if we turn million, billion, and trillion into seconds, I just want to illustrate the difference between those numbers. So if you said, look, 1,000,000 seconds ago from today is 11 days ago. That's how long it is. We can all kind of
Equate that.
kind of feel how long 11 days ago was. Yeah, 11 days, 1,000,000 seconds. 1,000,000,000 seconds ago was nearly 32 years ago. So this is the difference between 1,000,000 and 1,000,000,000. 11 days, nearly 32 years.
Yeah.
1,000,000,000,000 seconds ago, and this is what governments and countries are printing and buying, and 1,000,000,000,000 seconds ago is nearly 32,000 years ago.
Exactly.
So we've gone from 1,000,000 being 11 days ago, 1,000,000 seconds is 11 days, 1,000,000,000 seconds is nearly 32 years. I mean, I'm 33. I've been alive 1,000,000,000 seconds.
Yeah.
And 1,000,000,000,000 seconds ago is nearly 32,000 years.
When I was born.
Charlie, you're 1,000,000,000,000 years old. But these numbers, they so easily slip off politicians and governments, slip out of their mouth. But when you understand the magnitude, it is overwhelming. It is totally overwhelming.
It'll also give you an idea that when the Marines burst into the CIA headquarters last week,
right?
They found that the Bushes, the Obamas, and the Bidens and the Clintons had embezzled 100 trillion US, and so far they've managed to recover 35 trillion dollars.
Absolute madness.
I mean, the money that they've embezzled is obscene. The fact that they've managed to seize $35 trillion will actually help a little bit to recover the debt in the Federal Reserve.
Yeah. The numbers
are do with that,
so big. It's another world to what we live in. But to understand what's going on, it can really help you. And I'm going to boil all this down to kind of one line almost that you can do something with. But just bear with me. There's a couple more. So look, Warren Buffett, kind of well-known investor, turned to gold and invested $500 million, just like that, $500 million, boom, in gold mining stocks. So he's turning to gold for the first time. The Fed announced that interest rates will be low for a very, very long time. That's their little hint, their little nudge. It's not going to pick up. And there's been unmatched levels of debt and deficit around the world in 2020. So again, whether you understand the details of all of these parts, it doesn't really matter. It's the fact that they're the biggest, historic highs for the first time in history, and it's happening all over the world. I can sum it up for you in a really easy way. 2020, for governments around the world, they basically put it all on a credit card.
Yep.
That's all they did.
Money.
They just borrowed and borrowed and borrowed and borrowed and borrowed and borrowed. What do we know about credit cards, loans? They got to be paid back.
Yep.
And you don't have to pay back what you borrowed. You pay back what you borrowed plus a little bit more.
Correct.
And this little bit more is on a global scale. This is countries that have got that big credit card out and done this. The other thing that they've squeezed us all and said, look, debts have gone up, but you can't go to work.
Yeah.
So not only are you not generating any income for yourself, the country's not generating income as GDP. They're not bringing in, tax pounds, dollars. So you imagine this, as an individual, as a household, going and buying a house, taking on a massive mortgage, getting a nice big mansion, a castle or whatever, and then having no income.
Yeah.
Something has to give. This cannot keep going. There's got to be a breaking point. And there's not many things that countries, governments, central banks can do. But we're going to show you what we think they're going to do and what they've done over time. Anything to add here, James?
Well, what have banks done a lot in the past? They've bought gold, haven't they? Or they've stored gold. Governments
Yeah.
have stored gold. They know what real money is.
Yeah.
They don't like normal people like us buying it. They don't
Yeah.
like us having it, do they? This is why if you have it in a bank, they won't give you it back.
Yeah.
They'll give you the cash. They'll give you cash. They'll give you currency. So that should say a lot to people.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, on a quick snapshot, before 2020, you were good buying gold. Gold was performing well.
Yeah.
During 2020, the poo hit the fan. Debts escalated, spiraled, and just made paper money more and more worthless. Now, 2021 and beyond, Mr. Buzz Lightyear there. Here's what central banks can actually do, because it's those guys that are pulling the big levers on currency. Well, the first thing that they always look to do is to lower interest rates. That's the first kind of lever that they pull, and they go, okay, let's lower interest rates. That'll stimulate borrowing, stimulate the economy. Let's get everything moving. Well, cast your minds back to before 2020. They were already at historic lows. They can't really get any lower. So, tick, they've done that. Now what? They've tried the first thing. It didn't work. The second thing is to print money. And they're going to be printing money like we've never seen before. They have to service this debt. It has to come from somewhere. Something has to give. And printing money is the way that they're going to do it. Every pound, dollar, euro, yen that you print is worth less than the one before it. So paper money is going to become less and less valuable, and we're going to see it happen.
And a good point here, Adam, is you can't print gold. That's why it holds its value.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You can't just go to the printing press and go,
Yeah, that's
so what this actually means then is there's going to be more inflation. It has to happen. The system cannot keep going. How do you just keep borrowing when incomes have gone down as well? Like, if the debts had gone up but the incomes had gone up, then fair enough. You can see a way out of it. There's going to be more productivity. We're going to get we're going to work hard. We're going to get our way out of it. But incomes have gone down. It's not a metric that they can use or work with. So inflation is going to happen. Paper money is going to lose even more value. And I'm apologizing here for anyone that thinks, you've said the same thing about 100 times. But it's so important that you understand what's actually going on. And I did some research into, read through a really interesting study that looked at when monetary policy, when governments act, central banks act, when they actually take action, and how long it takes to actually be felt by real people on the street, people like me and you. And they said it takes around 12 months. Obviously, different situations, maybe it's a little bit longer, maybe it's a little bit short, but an average is about 12 months. So the clock started. All of these things have been put into place. They're borrowing, they're creating money, and it's a ticking time bomb. And I guess our question is, we felt this for ourselves, is what are we going to do about it for ourselves? You have to look after yourself first. When you're on a plane, put your own mask on first. And we're taking action, positioning ourselves so that we can be protected. But then we want to help other people. And my question would be, what are you doing about it? How are you positioning yourself so that when this hits, you are in a better position? And that, this economic season is almost like damage control. How can you protect and secure what you've got, whether you make money or not with gold, whether it goes up, which, there's a lot of information and evidence saying that it will. Forget that. Let's just secure and protect what you've got from the tidal wave that is on its way. And me and James are having a good look at this picture, and it really illustrates what's going on. Now, most people, the masses, the tidal waves come in, and they're still sat on the beach in their speedos. You know, they've got their ice cream and their pina colada, and
you might wear speedos, Adam, but I certainly don't. I'm scaring the locals.
Oh, I've got many photos I could pull out right now. But yeah, this is what the masses are doing. They're sat on the beach, and they're not informed about this, and this is why we want to get this message across. The tidal wave is coming, and you need to act. You need to do something about it. When everyone can see the tidal wave and it's in the papers, it's too late.
Yeah,
too late. Yeah.
People are all going to be rushing for the exits from that beach. They're all going to be rushing, trying to get in taxis, trying to run up the hill, and it's going to be a mad scramble. What's that going to do to the price of gold? It's going to push the prices up because everyone's going to want some. So what we're saying is get prepared. Do something now, please. Don't see all of this and do nothing. Do something with it to protect yourself and your family. I can tell you now, for myself and James and you as well, Charlie, we're already halfway up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
We can see this tidal wave coming. We've positioned ourselves and we're getting prepared. And we're literally urging you, come with us. Come with us for yourself and your families. Like, let's
get off
go
that
now.
beach, Adam. That's what we're saying, isn't it? Get off
get off the beach.
Even if you're still on your speedos, who cares? Get off the beach. Start heading up the hill.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's what I've done for my family. You know, I started 6-7 years ago, and I wish I'd started earlier. I wish I'd known earlier. But hey, there's no wrong time to start other than tomorrow. You know, in our view, that's why I've had all my family, my wider family, all saving the metals on a monthly basis now in gold and silver since, oh God, yeah, like I said, 5-6 years ago. But they're off at the beach, you know.
Yeah, being proactive rather than being reactive is so much more beneficial.
Yes.
And there will be people that say, well, why didn't you tell me? Well, we are. We're telling you what you need to do to protect your future. Now, the question will be is, do you have an open mind and do you believe the truth? Or has your mind been so contaminated by these evil banking cabals that you've been sucked into? You only have to look at the last 10 years in banking to see what's happened with interest rates, to see what's happened with banking fees, etc., etc. The banks are corrupt beyond recognition.
Got you by the balls, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
And that's what we've always said. You've got to understand the system to be able to work it in your favour. If you don't understand it, then you're just losing. You know, you've got to go do the opposite to what the masses are doing. When you learn this, you've got to get off the fence and go and take action. But there's so many people we speak to, Adam, isn't there, that they've heard us speak before and they've said, yeah, I got it. But we spoke to them 2 years later and they still haven't got off that fence. No. And it's hurting their asses, you know, and it's affecting them. If they took action when we'd shown them this, but all we say is, Adam, we're not salesmen. We just go, look, this is the information. Go and do your own research and take some action. Please take some action. But if we don't,
that's the important thing. That's the important thing. You don't have to take Adam or James's or my word for it. Why don't you just do some research yourself and find out? It doesn't take too long to find out.
No, it's all there. None of the stuff that I've talked about is, you know, I know you, Charlie, you've got some very, you know, strong contacts and things like that. I've just got the internet and all of this stuff is public information. It's nothing that anyone else can't find. But to know how it all works and to know the impact, that's where the power is. And hopefully that's what we can kind of bring to today, all the headlines and news and data and stuff, and actually bring it into something that you go, okay, that kind of makes sense now.
I have a very good friend called Vincent in Dubai, and he's been writing reports about gold for many, many years, advising governments on gold for many, many years. And I've been blessed to know him because he's been able to give me good advice. And when I say give me good advice, if I look back at the last 10 years of my life, the advice that he's given me has benefited me.
Yes.
And there's many, many people that have been given investment advice in the last 10 years that they haven't benefited anything from it.
Yep. Yeah.
That's why we decided right at the start, wasn't it, Adam, that we're never going to be financial advisors. We don't believe in We just believe in giving people the education. I mean,
Sure.
if your friends and family, will give them advice, obviously, for people close to us. But
Yeah.
anyone outside of that, we don't. We just give people information and ask them to go and do their own research and take the impact to empower themselves.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about: empowering themselves to look after
Yes.
their own personal economy and not reliant on the government. 'Cause everyone's reliant on this pension that might not be there in the future, and
Yep.
it might lose all its value. Which I'm saying might. It's happened. We've
Yeah.
spoken to numerous people that have said, "Yeah, my pension did told me it's half the values, and I've got to go back to work. I've got to go back to work. So my pension's just dropped like a rotten." You know,
Yeah.
I hear these stories all the time. So
And
if people
we'll
use
guide
this
them.
early on,
We'll guide them, won't we, in the right places?
yeah,
We've
Absolutely.
actually done an awful lot. You guys have done so much research into companies that are trustworthy.
yeah,
Yes.
And we're
Very
doing the same,
important.
trying to make sure that we link our following up with people that are trustworthy, and that you
Yeah.
don't get
Yeah.
ripped off or scammed like what has been happening with the banks for the last I don't know how many years.
I've been scammed before, Charlie, many years
So have
ago.
I.
I've been scammed several times before I knew what I was doing. Really,
Yeah.
you know, I've had me pants pulled down and my backside smacked
Yeah,
hard.
exactly.
So I just try and prevent other people from doing the same.
Exactly. No, exactly.
Yeah.
I think the other thing to mention is with financial advisors, if you have an advisor, you have to keep going back to them for every decision and every bit of information, because they hold it all. Whereas in some way we want to empower you so that you can see it for yourselves. You don't have to come back to us. We kind of make ourselves obsolete almost, by saying it's not about us and the special knowledge that we've got. It's about the education that you can then be your own advisor, because you can see what we can see. And
the other thing is the banks will they hide behind this KYC, know your client.
Oh yeah,
And this
Yeah.
KYC that they get from you, they sell that information to other people. They'll tell you they don't, but I know they do.
yeah,
And when you buy gold, you don't need to do that. You just keep your receipt for your gold, and you can trade your gold with whatever. And all this, it's all, they're very, very nosy about people's lives. They want to know the ins and outs of everything you do, under the guise, it's KYC, it's anti-money laundering, it's KYC.
Yeah.
It's
they pull
all a
that
load
one
of
out
bullshit.
whenever they want, don't they? Anti-money
do.
laundering.
They do.
when it suits them, and not
Yeah.
us.
Of course it
It's
is.
taking
Exactly
your power
right.
back, isn't it? It's taking that control back and taking that power back. I believe that's what I
Yeah.
see it as.
The good
When
thing
I
with this-
started learning this,
The good thing with this tidal wave is it will wipe out all the banks as well as the people left on the beach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's going to be catastrophic. I mean, look at the size of it on that picture. It's
Yeah.
bigger than the building, so no one's immune from this.
Sure.
It's going to affect everybody.
But
So
there is
look-
something to do. There is something you can do to prevent it and protect yourselves. And it's not rocket science, as we always say.
It really isn't. If it was rocket science, me and you, James, we wouldn't have a chance.
Nor me.
Simple people.
Nor me.
No, it's not about
Yeah.
having degrees and letters after your name and all this kind of stuff. It's about just looking at what goes up, what goes down, and I think if we put it really simple, from everything we've said, whether it's all stuck or whether it's not stuck, here's the real key takeaway. Here's what you can actually do, because we don't just want to say, here's all this information, here's what's been happening. Now just sit there and be paralyzed by fear. We want to turn that into something that you can do, the application. Put very, very simply, move your paper into gold.
Yeah.
If you do that, you will protect and secure yourself, secure your savings, your wealth, your family's wealth. And by wealth, we don't mean, you have to have, hundreds of thousands. Your wealth could be £50. It could be £50 a month. It could be, it doesn't, the number is almost irrelevant. It's what's relative to you. But it's about protecting and securing on every level. And we've helped loads of different people already. We've helped people that do want to save, £50 a month, €50, £100 a month, whatever. Whether it's £100,000 they want to buy on a one-off. People have sold properties and they just don't want to put that cash in the bank. People have, ridden the crypto, Bitcoin's increased and they want to cash out and stabilize and protect that. Because look, I'm sure cryptocurrencies are going to be part of all our futures, and blockchain technology is very interesting. But currently it's very volatile. You can make and lose 20% in a day. And
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
focuses on the making side, but they don't always focus on the losing side of 20%, which can be a lot. So if you've done that and you want to secure, gold is an amazing way to do that. We've helped people all over Europe, Canada, Australia. We just want to help you to do this. This is what we're doing for ourselves. We're not telling you to do something that we're not doing. This is what we do. Charlie, I know you do this as well. And we see the benefits for ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it.
Sure.
So if you want to secure, protect what you have, then please take some action, do some research. And if we can help you, then look, visit Goldbusters. It's just a contact page. Some people have said, look, there's not much information on there. And the reason it's just a contact page is we want to talk to you. We want to find out what's important to you. For some people, I had a guy in Australia that said, look, I want to buy one bit of gold. This is what I want. And I'm digging a hole in the garden and shoving it there. Perfect. But that solution is different to kind of most people. So we need to look at it on an individual basis. And we'll help you. We'll hold your hand. We've been through this ourselves. Mm-hmm. Just one last point, and I know we've not really talked about performance as far as how much money people are going to make buying gold. But the Bank of America actually forecast gold for this year to hit between $2,300 and $2,400 an ounce. It's currently at $1,800, $1,850, something like that. Yeah. So if you're thinking, well, I feel quite protected already, there is a big increase coming, because as paper money goes down, your gold is going to increase in value. And I think 2021 is going to be a big year for gold.
Yeah,
there's plenty of evidence out there, isn't there, that the metals market has been suppressed, haven't they?
Yes, and artificially suppressed now for some time.
Yeah, very long time, haven't they? So it speaks for itself, doesn't it, really? We're just trying to explain these things to people in many different ways, different angles, because some people don't take this on straight away. They might watch it. They might have watched what we're talking on for the 5th, 6th time and then get it and go, the light bulb might go then. Sure. It might take that many times for them to get it. So we get this all the time, Adam, don't we? People speak to us and go, oh, yeah, I've seen your videos a few times or seen what you spoke about, but I didn't really do anything. But now I get it. Now I get it. Yeah. Now I want to do something, Well, it took me probably 5 conversations to really understand and for the penny to fully drop. Yeah. I've got that thick skull. But when it did, it almost seemed so obvious. Like why didn't I realize it before? But I remember when James told me, we were kind of doing some research, and he mentioned it to me, and it took me a while to have it into your head, didn't it?
I was like, but this and this, and then the more I looked into it, I was like, gosh, it's there. I can see it, and it did seem so obvious.
The dangerous thing right now is procrastination.
Yes,
if you sit still and don't do anything, you'll be going backwards.
That's risky. That's very risky.
It is. Yeah. Whereas if you become proactive and do something, you can protect yourself in the future. And this and the phone number here in the UK, 02071 75 75 75. You can connect with Adam and James, and they will guide you through this process. It's incredibly simple, and they'll show you everything, because to me, I'm 60 years old. It takes a bit of time to sink in. Yeah, your brain matter's not as receptive as it was when I was younger. But these guys will go through everything with you and help you understand and also help you guide you into the right places to go.
Yep.
And the wrong places to go. And so it's there, and I want to thank you guys, because this keeps it simple, keeps it honest, keeps it truthful. And this is all about protecting yourselves against what's coming.
Can I just add one thing, Charlie?
Yeah.
Just one thing is that there has been a couple of people that have got in contact with us, and through looking at their situation, we've actually said to them, do you know what, at this moment in time, it's only been a couple, but we've actually said, this maybe isn't right for you right now. You know, if they've got debts and things like that, we don't want people to go into debt to buy gold. That's not what it's about. But we've actually been able to help them accelerate out of debt using some of the tools that we looked at in some of the other videos. So that they can get out of that debt quicker, and then they free up cash to then buy gold.
Brilliant.
And we're not just, it's not one size fits all. And that's why we chat to you and just say, you know, what are your outcomes? What do you want it to do? You know, what stage of life are you in? Are you thinking you just got a pen and you're cashing it out and you just want to hold on to it? You just want to protect it? Or are you thinking, you know, I'm in an earlier stage of life and I'm setting stuff up for my kids? Or all of those things look different. And we can help guide you through, give you information. And then look, the decisions are over to you at the end of the day. We'll show you everything, but it's your decision.
Definitely.
We just go from there. Have a chat.
Perfect.
We love it, Adam, don't we? Love it. So.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it.
Thank you very much, guys. And I really appreciate your time and showing our viewers there the benefits of putting your money into something solid rather than leaving it in a place which is at the moment incredibly dangerous.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks so much, Charlie. Thanks for having me on. We're always refreshed and revitalised by chatting to you.
Well, today's a big day.
Yes, I'm sure you'll be very busy.
It's like birthday, Christmas, and Easter all come at once.
Yeah, absolutely. We just got to get the popcorn out and sit back and watch, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Enjoy. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. We'll speak soon.
Take care of you, mate.